Hi everyone, Sir Janus here and welcome to another episode of Einsteinatics TV. Today we are going to put focus on the difference between pure substances and mixtures. This is covered by Science 7 Quarter 1 of Module 3. For today's video, we have the following objectives. First one is to define pure substances. Second one is to describe pure substance based on a set of properties. And yung third one is to relate the importance of pure substance in real-life situations. Before we proceed with the classification of matter, let us first try to identify or understand ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng matter. Based on your previous discussions, as we all know, yung matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. So there are two ways to classify matter. One is that you are most familiar with, and that is based on its state, whether it's solid, liquid, or gas. But another way to classifying matter is by using its composition. So this is now where our new lesson would come up, which is on mixtures versus pure substances. Can you still remember the classifications of matter? Kung naalala nyo pa, the most common states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. And ito yung kanilang mga properties. So yung solid, as we all know, has its particles which is tightly packed, it is rigid, at meron siyang permanenteng hugis because of the arrangement of their molecules. Yung liquid naman on the other hand, yung particles niya is loosely packed, has definite volume, pero wala siyang specific shape. Ibig sabihin, ginagaya niya lang kung saan siya nakalagay. Gas naman on the other hand, as you can see, there are lots of space between the particles. It has no fixed volume or shape, and just like liquid, it takes on the shape and volume of the container. Now, let's proceed with our present topic, and that is to classify yung matter according to its composition. So, we are going to try to differentiate ano nga ba yung pagkakaiba ng pure substance at saka ng mixture. So, to give you an idea, when you talk about pure substance, it has constant composition. Yung mixture naman, on the other hand, is merong variable yung kanyang composition. Ibig sabihin, iba-iba kung ano yung kumukompose sa kanya or kung saan siya gawa. So, for example, we have here sodium chloride, which is table salt or asin, and H2O are two pure substances that combine to make a mixture which is known as salt water. So, ano nga ba yung pure substance? So, pag sinabing pure substance, it has the same composition. So, merong dalawang klase yung pure substance. Yung una is yung elements, and yung ikalawa naman is yung compounds. When we talk about elements, these cannot be broken down chemically into simpler substances. So, each element is made up of one type of atom. And pag mag-combine itong mga element, then dyan ay ngayon tatawagin na silang compounds. So, this can be broken down into simpler elements. So, for example, itong water, yung mga elements na bumubuo sa kanya is hydrogen and oxygen. Here are other examples of elements such as hydrogen, yung helium, at saka yung gold. So, karaniwan itong makikita, all 118 of them on the periodic table. So, pag yung mga elements naman ay nagko-combine, then makakabuo na tayo ngayon ng tinatawag na compound. So, example niyan is yung pure water, andyan din yung carbon dioxide, andyan din yung sodium chloride. So, as you can see, pag nag-iisa lang, it is known as element, one atom. Pag dalawang atom na nag-combine, then they will be now considered to be compounds. Now, let's proceed with the first type of pure substance known as element. Ano nga ba yung element? So, yung element, it is a pure substance that cannot be broken down into other substances by chemical method. So, bawat element is binubuo ng isang klase ng atom. So, if you're wondering, ano nga ba yung iba't ibang klase ng element, then you may look at the periodic table. So, there are 118 known type of elements. Example dito is yung iron, aluminum, oxygen, and hydrogen. The next type of pure substance is known as compound. Ano nga ba yung compound? So, unlike kanina sa elements, yung pure substance, which is known as compound, can be broken down into those elements by chemical method. So, kung kanina yung element is made up of only one type of atom, compound, on the other hand, is made up of two different types of atoms. So, examples of this are water, which as we discussed earlier, binubuo siya ng hydrogen and oxygen. Yung carbon dioxide naman is binubuo ng carbon at saka ng oxygen atom. On the other hand naman, yung table sugar is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Before we proceed, let us test how much you have learned from today's lesson. So, try to categorize kung itong mga given examples ba is an example of element or compound. So, while answering, you may pause the video and you can just press play pagtapos ka ng magsagot sa quiz. So, here are the correct answers. For elements, andyan si oxygen, si magnesium, si nitrogen, and si cesium. On the other hand naman, for compounds, you have H2O2, you have the nitrate or NO2, and you have NaOH. This time, let's proceed to the other classification of matter based on composition, which is known as mixtures. Ano nga ba yung mixture? So, it is a combination of two or more pure substances that are not chemically combined. So, take note of this word. So, yung mga substances held together by physical forces and not chemical. So, walang chemical change na takes place. Each item retains its property in the mixture. They can be separated physically and can be separated into pure substances by physical means. The first type of mixture is known as the homogeneous mixture. Yung characteristic of homogeneous mixture is it is same throughout. Ibig sabihin, you cannot differentiate kung ano or kung saan siya gawa. So, it does not vary in composition from one region to the other. So, as you can see, pag pinaghalo mo yung sugar, pati yung tubig, then you cannot differentiate kung alin ba dyan yung portion na merong tubig or andyan yung sugar. So, that is an example of a homogeneous mixture. So, aside from sugar solution, you have also coffee, wine, air, brass, yung blood, vinegar, natural gas, at saka yung steel. The next type of mixture is known as the heterogeneous mixture. Ito naman, this is the reverse or kabaliktaran siya ng homogeneous mixture. Kung kanina, hindi mo malalaman kung saan siya gawa kasi pare-pareho yung characteristic of a homogeneous mixture. Ito naman, you will clearly distinguish or malalaman mo kung ano yung mga parts or kung saan gawa yung mixture na yan. So say for example, itong chocolate chip cookie, malalaman mo dyan kung alin dyan yung cookies, alin dyan yung chocolate. And then of course, we have the pizza, alam mo kung ano yung mga ingredients na inilagay sa kanya. You have also sandwich, yung salad, at saka itong soda with ice. The first challenge is separating an insoluble solid. When we talk about insoluble, ibig sabihin, ito yung solid na hindi natutunaw sa tubig. So, how could you separate an insoluble solid like sand from a mixture of sand and water? So, yan yung gagamitin natin na method which is known as filtration or through filtering the mixture. So, as you can see, yung insoluble solid cannot pass through the filter paper but the water can. And so, the sand that is trapped by the filter paper is known as the residue. The water that passes through the filter paper is now known as the filtrate. So, ito yung mga naiwang mga sand is known as residue. Ito namang tubig after the sand had been filtrated is known as filtrate. Now, let's proceed to the next challenge. So, how are you going to separate a soluble solid? So, yung soluble is ibig sabihin na tunaw sa water. Suppose, meron kang tinunaw na salt sa tubig or yung sugar sa tubig. Paano mo maseseparate or matatanggal yung salt dun sa water or yung sugar dun sa water? Then, we are going to use the method known as evaporation. So, the solution is heated, so the water evaporates and leaves the dissolved solid behind. So, ito yung tinatawag na evaporation. For the next challenge, and that is on separating immiscible liquids. Ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng immiscible? These are liquids na hindi siya naghahalo. So, for example, yung oil and water. So, do you have any idea paano ba isa-separate yung immiscible liquids? So, you are just going to simply use a pipette. So, by using a pipette or any medicine dropper, then you can just simply remove the top layer using a pipette. So, as you can see, you could now separate oil and water. So, kanina, yung immiscible liquids can be simply separated through the use of a pipette or a plain medicinal dropper. Ngayon naman, how will you separate liquids that mix together? So, these are known as miscible liquids. Do you have any idea? So, say for example, yung wine at saka yung water, tapos pinaghalo na siya. So, wine and water mix together. So, do you have any idea kung paano ba siya i-separate? When separating miscible liquids, we now employ or use the method known as distillation. So, this technique is used to separate a liquid from a mixture. So, distillation has 3 steps. Yung una is yung evaporation, number 2 is condensation, and number 3 is collection. So, paano nga ba nangyayari yung distillation? So, as you can see, yung solution is heated so that the liquid evaporates and is turned into a gas. Everything else is left behind. So, yung water would now condense and would be collected here. Another method of separating mixtures is known as chromatography. Yung chromatography naman means color writing. So, it is used to separate mixtures of colored or non-colored substances that are soluble in the same solvent. So, as you can see, a spot of the mixture is placed on some filter paper. So, yung unang method is yung method A, wherein yung solvent is soaked up on the water or on the paper. Yung other method naman is the solvent is slowly dripped into the paper. So, as you can see, masaseparate ngayon yung color dun sa water. Another method of separating mixture is known as sieving. So, yung sieving naman, it is a separating process wherein you are going to remove particles of insoluble or undissolved material from a liquid using a barrier within a small to medium-sized hole. So, it is almost similar to filtering. So, as you can see, when you want to separate gravel from sand, then you are going to use a sieve. Or, for example, you want to separate sand from water, just like filtration. So, you are going to use a fine sieve in order for the sand to be trapped here. Tapos, mas-separate na siya dun sa water. Another method of separating mixture, especially when you are dealing with steel, is by using a magnet. So, for example, you want to remove the iron fillings from the sand, so you are just going to simply use a magnet. The next type of separating mixture is known as decantation. So decantation is the process of separation of liquid from solid and other immiscible liquids by removing the liquid water at the top of the layer of solid or liquid below. So you are just going to simply pour the liquid para maiwan yung solid particle sa container. So yan yung ibig sabihin ng decantation. This time, let us test how much you've learned from today's lesson. For the first challenge, you will be shown a series of photos. So tell if each photo represents an item composed of an element, compound, or mixture. Quick review: element, pag it is just one type of atom. Compound, when it contains two or more different types of atoms joined together. Pag mixture naman, pag two or more different substances are physically joined together. So are you ready? For the first one, rocks. Is it a type of elements, compounds, or mixture? Correct answer is mixture. Next example, copper. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is element. Next question, jelly beans. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is mixture. Next question, table sugar. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is compound. Next example, diamond. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is element kasi it is made up of carbon atoms. Next example, tea. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is mixture. Next example, salt. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is, it is a type of compound which is composed of sodium and chlorine. Another example, neon gas. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is element. So neon or Ne. Next example, salad. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is mixture. Next example, pure water. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is compound kasi it is made up of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Next example, aluminum. Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer is element. How about lemonade? Is it element, compound, or mixture? Correct answer for this one is, of course, mixture. So how about silver? Is it mixture, compound, or element? Correct answer is silver is a type of element. For the last challenge, sand. Is it mixture, compound, or element? Correct answer is mixture. Did you get it all correct? If yes, congratulations. Now let's proceed with the second activity. So the figure below you is known as electrolysis. So it shows a separating technique for the components of pure substances. So another set of properties that distinguishes substances from mixtures. Now you may pause the video while answering the questions and press play to check whether you got the correct answer. So good luck. Now, here are the correct answers. For letter A, it's known as pure water. It is made up of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Then, yes, water can be separated through the process of electrolysis. For the last activity, given the following mixtures, pipili ka ngayon dito ng method in order for you to successfully separate the different substances that makes up the mixtures. Now, you may choose more than one type of method. However, if it is not possible, then you can write cannot be separated on the space provided. So you may pause the video again while answering and press play when you're done. So here are the correct answers. When separating salt from iron fillings, then you may use letter A method by using a magnet. Water and pebbles, letter C. Mixture salty water is letter E through the use of evaporation. For mixture 4, salt, iron fillings, and water, So you may use figure A using a magnet, then afterwards using evaporation. Then for mixture number 5, you may use first yung letter C, which is use a strainer para ma-separate yung gravel, sand, and sugar. Then followed by letter B, use or add water. Then either use F or D, yung decantation or yung filtration. And afterwards, you may use evaporation. Sa mixture 6 naman, you can first use yung strainer. Then afterwards, yung magnet to separate the sugar, sand from the iron fillings. Then letter B, then F or D, and eventually letter A para ma-separate na ngayon yung water dun sa nalalabing sugar or sand.